Hey there, Cavendish here. They call me that because I'm out here 3xing your knowledge on Street Fighter 6. This video is hopefully the first in a series of advanced guides for Street Fighter 6, starting with a simple combo guide for my boy Sagat here. I've been playing him for hundreds of hours ever since he released, never put him down. I'm by no means a professional, but I've spent, again, hundreds of hours in casual matches, in ranked, and in the lab with Sagat, watching lots of videos, educating myself, so I feel relatively well informed to give my perspective on him. This is an advanced guide, so I'm going to presume that you know the basics about Street Fighter 6, that you know about frame data, you know what Sagat's general moveset is, what the moves are called, and basically how to play him. In this video, I aim to educate you on how Sagat can optimize his combo game for fun and for profit. No, not really. For drive gauge optimization, for damage optimization, for corner carry, and whatever else this brute might need. As you may know, Sagat's damage output is ludicrously high in this game, but how do you know which combos to use in which situation, which big moves to land on a punish counter, for example? Well, today let's talk about Sagat's 3 big money-making moves, the moneymakers, as I call them. These 3 moves are going to win you games, win you sets, win you tournaments, and win you cash money. No, not really. If you're looking for money in the FGC, you're probably in the wrong place. Before we start, 2 things. I'm going to leave a link in the description to the mod that gives me this fantastic color for Sagat, in case you're interested in that. And second of all, I want to address the meta a little bit. I'm recording this video in early March 2026, and at about this time, people are having discussions about whether or not Sagat may be one of the best, if not the best characters in the game. I would beg to differ. I think Ryu and Mai and JP are far better, but I can definitely see the case for why Sagat is an incredibly powerful character, and the reason that I think that might be is people are embracing playing Sagat as a drive monster, much the same way that they play Ryu these days, where you're constantly pressuring your opponent's drive bar and replenishing your own as much as possible to prevent yourself from going into burnout. I think this is an ideal way to play Sagat, and hopefully this guide will lean you into that playstyle. And of course, before the video starts proper, be sure to leave a like if you like this video, leave a dislike if you're a hater, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future. With that, let's go! Your first big money-making move is Nova Tiger. I'll just be referring to it as Nova from now on. First of all, I just love this grunt he does. And I also love beating the shit out of Lily, of course. But out of Nova, there are basically an infinite number of things that you can do, but let's talk about what's the most practical and resourceful. First of all, high kick combos immediately out of Nova. Out of high kick mid-screen, all you can really do is chase for Oki with light knee, which will leave you +6, or medium knee, which will leave you +2. You can also just go straight for heavy DP and dash forward for decent damage and decent Oki. You can also high kick into any of Sagat's supers, though level 2 you might find is the most useful because it's so flexible afterward. If you want screen space, you can level 1. And if you really need to kill and you need a simple setup, you can go straight into level 3. In the corner is where things get far more interesting because you can do Nova high kick into medium DP, or you can do Nova into what I call Dealer's Choice. Now, what is Dealer's Choice? Dealer's Choice is my given term that I just invented for any situation where you're ending a combo with a back heavy punch into one of 2 possible enders. The first one being back heavy punch into charged heavy DP, as shown here. Very easy, very consistent, not prone to dropping, really. Very high damage, and if you haven't put yourself in drive recovery lockout, like with a drive rush cancel, for example, then that charged heavy upper alone will get you 1 free bar back, though it will sacrifice Oki. The second ender is some kind of heavy kick tiger knee into uppercut. As we saw there, I got what I would call a sour spot heavy tiger knee there, whereas that was a spiral or sweet spot, or sometimes perfect, heavy tiger knee, whatever word you want to use. If you manage to hit your opponent very low with that back heavy punch, then you have enough time to get the perfect or sweet spot or spiral heavy tiger knee that you see there, where the opponent goes into that spiral launch animation, which gives you enough time for a medium upper or level 2 super afterwards. Although there are situations where you can rig the game in your favor, so to speak, with auto-timed back heavy punch setups that will lead naturally into that perfect spiral knee into medium DP. Now, the reason I call it dealer's choice is because I'm sometimes prone to dropping that perfect back heavy punch into perfect heavy tiger knee. And if you do miss that, then all you're going to be able to get is the sour spot into light DP, which does the least damage out of all three of these options. But if you do successfully land it, you get very high damage, not necessarily as much as the charged heavy DP, but you also get Oki. You also stay in their face. So you take the gamble, or you trust your skills, and you can go for that perfect knee setup if you feel like it. It certainly feels like a gamble to me sometimes. By the way, dealer's choice isn't exclusive to the corner, but if you decide to take the gamble and you whiff that sweet spot knee, you will just send yourself under the opponent. And sometimes you can actually just get a grab after that, just unexpectedly. But generally, if you're mid-screen, you got to be really confident that you're going to hit that perfect tiger knee in order to get the medium DP. So back to Nexus, if you're in the corner, you can go for dealer's choice, or you can go for high kick into medium uppercut. So if you want to spend a little bit more drive after Nova and you are mid-screen, there's a few things that you can do. The most brain-dead option, but it's actually pretty good, is to do your slash target combo afterwards. It's very easy to land after Nova, doesn't really require much timing, and you can do a couple of different things out of it. The first is target combo into either heavy or medium tiger knee for a plus 42 safe jump setup. Or you can go into heavy tiger uppercut for some decent damage and a decent Oki situation. If you realize after you've already committed to the target combo that you need to extend to either push your opponent into the corner or to set up for a super, you can pretty easily go into OD tiger knee into light uppercut if you're able to reach the corner in time. Also, you can go straight from tiger slash into any of your three supers. You can also go straight into both hits of heavy kick into heavy tiger knee for a plus 42 safe jump setup that is a little bit harder to recognize for most people. Now, out of Nova, you actually have enough time to land a crouching heavy punch, and you should definitely use this if you aren't really worried about consistency, you're confident in your abilities, and especially if you're trying to do a drive rush cancel afterward into something else, because it's just going to give you more damage than your crouching medium punch target combo. The drawback of using your Tiger Slash is that you can't drive rush into anything else afterward. Note that sometimes if your button timing isn't good and you hit that back heavy punch kind of late, then you will fly past your opponent. So just make sure that your timing is really tight. Keep in mind that the slash target combo into medium tiger knee is the best way to set up for a safe jump mid-screen, whereas heavy kick knee tends to send pretty far away. So of course we want to be drive efficient, but if you're willing to spend for whatever reason, if you really need screen space or whatever it might be with Sagat, out of Nova there's a lot of different things that you can do. Firstly, a pretty easy drive rush cancel sequence into Dealer's Choice. If you're willing to spend more bar to set up into Nova, then you can start your drive gauge restoration quickly with crouching heavy punch into Nova, and then whatever follow-up you want. Or you can even do the second hit of standing heavy kick, though this will apply even more scaling, so generally prefer to use crouching heavy punch. If you really need your drive gauge back in the corner, then setting up somehow for a Nova into that charged heavy DP is going to restore a ridiculous amount of drive. If you're willing to spend the bar on that OD Nexus in the corner, setting up specifically for that charged heavy DP will refund you 1 bar back immediately. Next, let's talk about Nova Go Time combos. These are only for damage dumps, usually to set up for kills. Oki and drive are irrelevant. For mid-screen damage, I tend to incorporate a delayed crouching heavy punch in a lot of these combos with multiple drive rush cancels. Here's what one of those looks like. You want to hit that second crouching heavy punch a little bit late so that they're relatively low to the ground. And of course you can end this with Dealer's Choice as well. If you don't want to whiff that first connection, you can always do crouching medium punch, but you'll have to delay the crouching heavy punch even further. If you're in the corner and you got a lot of resources, I would highly recommend filling the rest of this combo with delayed double hit standing heavy kicks, much like that. There's a bit of a rhythm to it, so let me show you what that looks like. That rhythm tends to work for me. If you speed it up just a little bit, your opponent may go a little bit higher. And if you slow it down a little bit, your opponent will go a little bit lower. And if you ever, at the end of that combo, land a double hit of the Tiger Knee, then do not go for any uppercut finisher because it will not connect. Out of Nova, if you do 2 drive rush heavy kicks as fast as possible, it auto times for dealer's choice, where the game is rigged in your favor because it's an auto time setup. You'll always get that perfect back heavy punch into spiral knee. If your opponent is about at Sagat's head when they're launched by that final standing heavy kick, you can pretty much always go into light uppercut. Sometimes you can go into medium uppercut, but for consistency's sake, I would recommend light uppercut. And of course, I've said it before, and I'll say it again, you can end with dealer's choice, with the right delay. So in general, Nova is great. It doesn't iterate your juggle counter all that much, and it's very flexible, and you can do basically whatever you want out of it. It's a fantastic thing to try to combo into, especially at early level, because it's a very favorable juggle for you. You can do a lot of different things out of it, and they're not all that difficult. Nova is pretty friendly to your juggle counter. If you didn't know, there's an invisible juggle counter that's quietly working in the background anytime your opponent is juggled to make sure that you can't combo them infinitely. And that juggle counter is very disfavorable when it comes to back heavy punch, the second of Sagat's big money-making moves. Back heavy punch isn't meant to be used like your traditional drive rush slop move. It is typically a combo starter or a combo ender, because after you launch your opponent with back heavy punch, you'll notice they're launched relatively high, not as high as Nova, but they also fall to the ground really quickly. They meteor back to the ground very quickly. And this is intentional because it's not meant to be used as a super flexible move. It's meant to be used to set up specific scenarios. The first, simplest, and most obvious is just Sagat's basic bread and butter, which is back heavy punch, heavy tiger knee, light uppercut from a grounded state. Very easy, 2850, super simple damage. You can also land OD uppercut in this situation too. On counter hit or punish counter, note that back heavy punch will go straight into charged heavy DP for insanely high damage, good drive recovery, and basically no risk whatsoever of dropping this, if you know what you're doing with your DPs. But I want to have more fun than that. This is a relatively short combo. Maybe if I'm low on drive, that's good, but how do we have more fun with this? Well, the key is back heavy punch into medium tiger shot. But, as with most things related to this move, it's a little bit more finicky. If you follow up that medium tiger shot with an immediate high kick, you can follow with either light or medium knee for the same Oki situation as Nova provides, or you can go immediately from the tiger shot into level 1 super. And you can even go into level 2 or level 3 super, but you have to be absolutely point blank when this back heavy punch hits, maybe even from a drive rush. See? Here's level 3. If you're willing to spend after your medium tiger shot extension, then you can do the same combos we mentioned earlier, the tiger slash setups. But note that you do not have enough time to get a drive rush crouching heavy punch because it sends a little bit lower than Nova does. If you're a little bit spaced away from your opponent when you hit this initial back heavy punch, you can actually follow it up with a drive rush cancel into heavy kick into tiger shot, and then follow it up as if it were a back heavy punch tiger shot combo sequence. Kind of interesting. You spend a lot of bar, but I guess it's, good corner carry, good damage. I'm sure Blaz has a reason for doing this, even if it is a little bit niche. If you're very close to your opponent when that back heavy punch lands, you can follow with a slightly delayed back heavy punch into dealer's choice. In the corner, albeit in somewhat specific situations, is where these medium tiger shot follow-ups become even stronger. You'll notice if you're a little bit too close to your opponent, that the back heavy punch into medium tiger shot can whiff. If you delay the medium tiger shot a little bit, you can still hit your opponent, even if you're point blank. However, if your opponent is a big body like Zangief, like Honda, like Marisa, then this doesn't matter. That back heavy punch medium tiger shot is always going to hit on them. So you'll want to use something that can space you away from the corner before you hit that back heavy punch. A lot of your other moves that combo into it don't space you enough. Like, for example, drive rush crouching medium kick there, or drive rush standing medium punch. You'll still have to delay it. So just be very careful and mindful of when you use back heavy punch and how far away from the corner you are, given that you're not confident in your delays. If we're okay investing 1 bar into the corner, again, we get dealer's choice. You don't have to be super close. One other thing you can do if you want to spend a little bit more bar is you can go straight into OD Tiger Knee into light uppercut. Very high damage. As far as go time combos go, it's pretty much the same thing as Nova. Just keep in mind that you cannot land that drive rush crouching heavy punch out of this. As long as you just use crouching medium punch instead, then you can do the same heavy kick slop rhythm stuff into dealer's choice, into Super 3 or Super 2, whatever you want to do. As well, if you're in a juggle situation, say you're doing heavy kicks, if you end any of those with a high kick instead, you'll be able to land any super afterwards. Just something to note. Be mindful of the fact that back heavy punch on counter hit or punish counter will send significantly higher, and so your normal combos, like your bread and butter, aren't really going to work the same way. However, you can go straight into charged heavy DP. You can also do a medium knee into super in the corner. Now, generally, you can only really do 1 back heavy punch in any given combo, but if you didn't know, that invisible juggle counter that's behind the game doesn't iterate whenever you use drive rush, which is what lets you do those big drive rush extensions in combos. So drive rush back heavy punch is kind of its own move in some ways, because it allows you to do things that you couldn't before. For example, a raw back heavy punch will not combo into medium nexus, but a drive rush back heavy punch will combo into medium nexus. By the way, drive rush back heavy punch into only the first 2 hits of heavy tiger nexus leaves you plus 42. This leads us into one of the most important combos in this video, which is the Pugera combo. In my opinion, any combo that involves a drive rush back heavy punch into a medium nexus can be called a Pugera combo, and there's a couple of different follow-ups that you can do depending on if you're mid-screen or in the corner. Mid-screen, there are 2 basic variations to the Pugera combo. The first is an immediate heavy kick tiger knee, 2 hits into light uppercut. If you are even in the middle of the screen when this lands, you will make it to the corner in time. Absolutely insane corner carry and high damage. If you're not sure that you're going to make it to the corner, or if you just want it to be super consistent, you can instead follow it with Nova, high kick into heavy tiger uppercut, because that light DP hits really, really low. And so if you suck or you're a little bit late, sometimes you can miss it and you will die for that. In general, the Pugera combo is fantastic for any drive rush slop, so crouching medium punch can lead you into it, and you just take your opponent to the corner for landing a 7-frame move. The Pugera combo launches your opponent insanely high, but it also can lead into all 3 of your supers. Dependent on exactly how high they are when you input the super, sometimes level 2 can whiff, so I like to delay it very slightly after that high kick. If you're in the corner, there is one more variant of the Pugera combo that you can do, which is empty nexus into back heavy punch, which sets up into dealer's choice, but the game is rigged because you will always get that auto-timed perfect back heavy punch into the spiral, heavy tiger knee, into medium uppercut for very high damage. In general, this is going to do more damage than if you follow up with Nova in the corner. Drive rush back heavy punch is also the essential ingredient to 2 of the most important mid-screen kill combos. There's one that I would attribute to Blaz, and another that I would attribute to Javits Arias on Twitter, so shout out to him. I'll leave his page in the description. Here's what the Blaz combo looks like, and then I'll break it down. Basically, all that you're doing is after that drive rush back heavy punch, you're hitting with the crotch of your standing heavy kick as soon as possible. When you hit that crotch heavy kick, you can go straight into charge DP if you just don't want to deal with it today. Don't want to take any chances. Or you can set up for a dealer's choice that is rigged because you have the auto-timed back heavy punch into perfect tiger knee. But how you do it is a little bit finicky. My theory for this is that when you land this crotch hit of standing heavy kick, sometimes the game can interpret your opponent as being behind you for just a moment. So when you want to land the first hit of heavy nexus afterward, if you input that quarter circle back heavy kick, sometimes it just won't come out at all. And sometimes you'll throw a heavy tiger knee and go under your opponent and completely whiff your combo and then probably lose the game. So the common wisdom is to delay your heavy nexus just a little bit after the crotch heavy kick lands. I find that it actually sometimes happens that you can input quarter circle forward and it'll get you what you want. Because again, I think it believes that your opponent may be kind of behind you. If you're in the corner, it removes the need for that delay or any other chain, so you can just input it as normal and do the Blaz combo pretty consistently every time. Except for that time. I'm also sometimes prone to whiffing that back heavy punch there, because it does need to be a little bit precise. Try to hit it like you would with dealer's choice to try to get that sweet spot, and you'll notice that it will whiff far less. But if you do hit the 2 hits or even the 1 hit of that back heavy punch, you can usually go into heavy tiger knee and you'll get the spiral perfect knee into medium DP, a fantastic cash out combo for mid screen. But it does have a couple of moments where it really tests your chops. Now the next one we'll talk about is the Jobit's Arius combo, which looks like this. Let's break that down. So delay that crouching heavy punch just enough so that they land into it, and then importantly into light nexus into mighty follow-up, the light follow-up into back heavy punch. And this back heavy punch, I don't believe sets up naturally into the perfect tiger knee into medium uppercut. It can be a little finicky to do. I think you have to delay it. I have a really hard time doing it. So here's what I like to do to finish more consistently instead. Back heavy punch into charged heavy DP. 3391 before level 3 super. Pretty good. Now the other neat thing about Drive Rush back heavy punch, because it doesn't iterate on the juggle counter, is it allows you to do something else that I'd like to talk about here, which is a double Nova combo. If you have enough time to do a Drive Rush back heavy punch on punish counter or on counter hit, then you can do these double Nova combos and treat them just like a Pugera combo at the end. Or even after a perfect parry. Of something particularly punishable, mind you. Or even a punish counter of something particularly punishable. That not being one of them, okay. Times that light DP can whiff if you lose any height in between the 2 Novas there. So you gotta be really quick in order to make sure it is a true Pugera combo where you can actually land the light DP after that immediate double hit heavy tiger knee. But just look at the ridiculous amount of corner carry for no super, by the way, that you get from this combo. Corner to corner with +5 Oki in their face. Just absolutely stupid. So we've talked about Nova and we've talked about back heavy punch. Now let's talk about Sagat's third big moneymaker, in my opinion, which is high kick. I know it's called high step kick, but high kick for sure. High kick on normal hit is not that great. It is +7, so you can go into crouching medium punch into heavy DP, or you can go into Tiger Rise target combo into any super that you want. If you do this and you land that grounded tiger knee, a crouching heavy punch will leave you +6 in the opponent's face. Something to note. If you know for a fact that the move your opponent is whiffing is a standing move, and you punish it with crouching medium punch at a distance, then high kick can move you forward enough to get an insane punish. Because of how much high kick moves you forward as it's coming out, it's amazing after Drive Rush. But I wouldn't say that high kick on raw hit is a moneymaker. It's not that great because all the opponent has to do is crouch, and you're minus, I don't even know how much that is. You get dumpstered if you whiff this move. Don't do that. Where this becomes a moneymaker is on counter hit, but specifically on punish counter. On counter hit, you're +9, and so if you're very close to your opponent when you land this, you can go straight into back heavy punch into whatever you want. High kick is also used in some of Sagat's highest damage grounded Drive Rush cancel combos. If you don't want to launch your opponent for whatever reason, these are really simple, easy combos to do, especially when you're just starting with Sagat. Something like this. Into that bread and butter. That one's really simple because it's just crouching medium punch into 2 hits of standing heavy kick, which forces your opponent to stand, so then you can hit them with that high kick afterwards, and you're plus enough to get back heavy punch, or even plus enough to get Nova into level 3 super. Those grounded combos are very simple, but they tend to do less damage than the fancy stuff, so let's get back to the good stuff. Punish counter is where high kick really shines as a moneymaker, because it's plus 21. You can drive rush after it, you can drive rush back heavy punch after it if for some reason you want to unlock that set of combos. You can go immediately for a first hit of heavy kick into Nova if you're close enough. If you're a little bit far away, then you can get that second hit into OD Nexus into Nova, or you can just go, if you're close enough, into back heavy punch. If you aren't that close after that initial high kick and you have a little bit too much space to land back heavy punch, something that you'll see a lot of Sagat players do because you are so plus after this is to walk forward a little bit so that you can make sure you land that crouching medium punch extension after the medium tiger shot setup. If you're in the corner, you don't need to worry about micro walking forward, as that's just always going to work. So in general, this is your highest damage punish starter for pretty much any situation. There's a little bit of risk involved because if you're a little too slow in hitting that back heavy punch, you'll be minus 13 if your opponent is crouch blocking. Very, very bad. You can also, of course, just go straight into bread and butter as long as you can hit that back heavy punch. 3610, really good damage. And I can't resist showing this off. Oh, and this. Maybe even this. Every Sagat's duty is to BM Akuma at all costs. Another option is double high kick. It scales your combo quite a bit, so it's not the greatest, but it is an option if you want to go into Tiger Rise target combo to go straight into super, say you're in Burnout. That's a really good option. Or you can just go straight into heavy DP. If you have a lot of bar in the corner and you land that punish counter high kick, there's a number of different things that you can do. Let's take a look at some of them. Here's a bit of an unorthodox one, but it does very high damage. 40-30, and you still get Oki. Punish counter high kick into OD Nexus. 1 bar refunded. 4180, very good damage. Sometimes only spending the 1 bar is preferable, like in this situation. 4260, but no drive recovery. If you go immediately from that back heavy punch into OD Tiger Shot and then high kick, you can set up for a heavy uppercut and start your drive restoration very early into the combo. So you basically get 1 back without having to sacrifice Oki. You're sometimes able to squeeze an extra OD High Tiger Shot into here if you micro walk forward, which is interesting, and then you can finish it however you like. If you do use that first medium Tiger Shot before the ODs, they're going to be too low to go for a micro walk forward, so just keep that in mind. If you're willing to spend 3 bars in the corner and you don't care about that drive restoration, then here's another cool thing you can do with OD High Tiger Shot. When you do that drive rush forward, it will auto time into back heavy punch for a rigged dealer's choice. So let me show you that. Perfect Tiger Knee. 40-30. Honestly, when it comes to punishes and you're in the corner, OD High Tiger Shot really is your best friend because it restarts your drive recovery relatively early in the combo, and it's super easy to use, very user-friendly, and there's a lot of stuff you can do out of it. So yeah, you could use 1, but why not use 3? Maybe even this thing. Hey, what about this thing? I've also seen some people use standing heavy punch after a particularly high launch into light uppercut. Not sure why you'd want to do that, but sure. A traditional kill combo in the corner like this will include heavy kicks, and you can even go into dealer's choice if you want to. Messed it up there. Or you can play it safe, as we saw before, and just go into heavy kick, heavy kick, heavy kick again, choose light Tiger Uppercut in those situations. Even though you do see the spiral, you usually don't have enough time to land medium DP there. So I'll see Blaz do this all the time. If you're ever not confident after that spiral knee, sometimes it does lie to you, just use light uppercut. It'll always work. And even if your opponent is really high when that light uppercut lands, you can usually cancel into level 3 super with no issue. Another niche combo you might want to know, if you land this punish counter stand heavy kick in the corner and you really need drive bar right now, here's how you do the drive engine. 4,000 and you just gained 3.25 bars of drive back. Just stupid. There's so many variations of things that you can do if you're willing to spend the bar. It's just crazy. So think of high kick as a moneymaker insofar as it enables you to do the other two big moneymakers, especially on punish counter. There's so much more about Sagat that I want to cover in different videos. I thought I would just dedicate some time to 3 of his best moves, in my opinion, the moves that just win you games. They just win you games. I'll just put it that way. If you liked this video, please leave a like. If you disliked it, go ahead and leave a dislike if that's your prerogative. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this in the future. I want to put out more Street Fighter 6 content because I am no-lifing this game. Please leave a comment if you've got something to say, or if there's something that I missed or got wrong, please correct me in the comments. I am by no means a professional. I'm just a average Sagat enjoyer. With that, thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. As a final segment here before we close out, I thought I'd throw this in. This is a little extra for you. On your Sagat journey, you may ask yourself, how do I know which of my combos, maybe the ones that you've seen here or the ones that you invent in the lab, how do I know which ones are best for killing my opponent and which ones are worse? Which of them does the most damage into level 3, for example? Well, let's talk about that. The typical highest damage you can get mid-screen looks like this. 4250 before the super. With an optimal Blaz combo ender, you end up with 4156 before super, and with the consistent version of the Javits combo I showed off earlier, ending in the heavy DP, that'll leave you at 4051 before your super. The best damage I can get in the corner is 2 drive rush heavy kicks into a perfect setup, 4478 for your super. Now, there are plenty of niche setups that you can do on airborne characters after their DPs, like Camis, for example. There's a lot of other niche tech that I'm sure I don't know about, but for your average combos, the typical ones that you'll be doing, they tend to top out around 4475 or so, at least as far as I know. What I do know is this is a pretty damn good one of those niche combos called the Guile Special. There's a reason why he's here on the screen. Here's the Guile Special. So at least one of those niche, maybe character-specific combos does about 5,300 before the super. So I'd say that's where things really start to top out. Whereas some of the crappiest punishes that you would realistically want to do end you at about 1,700, close to 2,000. So if your combo does 2,000 before the super, it's pretty yikesy. If it does 3,000, it's all right. If it does 4,000 before your super, it's pretty damn good. And if your combo does over 5,500 before the super, you've probably struck gold. Here come the clips, I'm sure.